Sullivan, Precinct 8. I think I understand that the $60,000 is to fulfill the requirements of DEP on behalf of the town regarding the park. My question is, if remediation comes to be necessary regarding this site, will we need to allocate additional funds beyond the $60,000? Thank you.
All right, before you reply, Mr. Halpin, I should have done that right after Mrs. Groves spoke. Just to make sure that everybody knows, there is an amendment that has been offered, a motion to increase the amount for this item from $60,000 to $210,000. So you can discuss the item itself and the amendment. Mr. Halpin.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Bob Halpin, Town Manager. So the Speaker is correct. This is an appropriation that will get us to the point where we need to propose a response action. And we don't know what that is right now. And that could be one thing in one set of facts. It would be very much a different thing in a different set of facts. What we're hoping is the outcome is, I think the result of the test, the 15 soil borings, show that there is a 2 to 4 foot layer of fill sitting on top of the old dump. It does narrow down to one point where it's like a foot. So one of the response actions that would be logically kind of thought of is that fill layer may have to be supplemented, where it narrows, but not necessarily supplemented where it's 4 feet deep. But you don't know that answer until you actually characterize the site and do a complete investigation. Then there's also the need to kind of explore what the impact is on Beaver Dam Brook and some of the groundwater in the area. We know this is a very wet area. So that all needs to be characterized. The other thing I should add is that we will, DEP is in the process of bringing Avery Dennison in as a responsible party. So Avery Dennison has some responsibility here, and we'll be sharing that with them. So this is the step where we analyze the environmental conditions, characterize what's at the site, including what's in the dump, which is a significant piece of missing information, and then propose a response action.
Thank you, Mr. Halpin. Ms. McCarthy?
Amendment. Motion to amend to that amount. It seems like this has, first of all, when the parks have come forward with different phases, they've also got fund item, and it's not about necessarily the skate park. It's about the fields. It's about being safe. And those of us who sat at a meeting with the results of the borings saw some good things. And those of us who have spent many years at fields with our kids and friends know that you might slide into first or ideas, but because it is an amount that's really pulled out of the air of maybe we can do this, maybe we can do that. And there has been, in my impression and others, a sense of just bringing things up to say the town hasn't been doing anything for years. And this is one department that I have found over the years to be very knowledgeable, think things through, look for funds to subsidize whatever the against this additional cost at this time. We will hear more about this.
Thank you, Ms. McCarthy.
Thank you.
Appropriately, I went through you, Madam Moderator, a couple of questions.
Yeah, please speak directly into the mic, Ms. Vassar.
FinCom said that they were concerned that the money being appropriated might not be adequate. I guess I'm looking for some idea of what the difference is. $210,000 is a huge jump from $60,000 for an environmental study. And I don't know what time frame we're talking about for the environmental study, but I think to appropriate additional funds before we have the result of an environmental study and what the scope of the remediation, if any, is, might be premature.
Also, second question is, I think answered is, would the town come back for additional funds if needed? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Vass.
In support of the increase in the amount of money. Keep in mind how much money has not been expended to Mary Dennison. It's long deserved through the efforts of Judy Grove, who persistently was after the appropriate department. It was her effort that brought this to light, and I want to congratulate Ms. Grove for
May I
her
remind
hard
you
work.
that we've referred to previous speakers?
Oh, I'm sorry. To the town meeting member who gave the presentation. But I do feel it's very small money, and considering the neglect, the abuse of that area, it's well deserved. And so I ask all of you to please support the increase in the amount of money. Thank you.
Thank you, Moderator Betty Funk, for the Finance Committee. The Finance Committee, earlier in the process, before everything was in the paper form that you see it right now, the number was 40, and we recommended that it be 60. So we stated our early concern that this might not cost the amount of money that was on the table, that it would cost more. You've heard a very eloquent explanation from the town manager as to the staging, the appropriate staging of this type of item. And I think the town meeting will have the opportunity later, if necessary, to add to the fund, if you need to add to the fund, or to do something else. No one has a crystal ball to know exactly how this is going to turn out. Everyone does understand the intensity and the advocacy associated with having a skating park on that site. But that's not the issue right now. That is whether or not, and by the way, in the beginning, I didn't think we had an issue. The issue now really is conforming to the requirements of the environmental protection laws, and the town manager has told you how, when, and where we're going to do that. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Funk.
Would you be able to put up the screen or the screen of the park again with the sites? Where it was the acre is 17.5 acres. All right, and along the entire upper side, there's only one or two along the entire northern boundary. Actually, I walked this park a few times in the last couple of weeks, and you had mentioned that one of the higher levels of chemicals is on one of the northern testing site.
Correct.
I would think that you would need more money, because I would test all along that northern border, because there are commercial concerns there all along the northern border. I would put at least 10 or 15 on that border right there if you want to do it right. That's what I would do.
Thank you, Mr. Kay.
Moderator, my name is Devin Mature. I'm from Precinct 17. Just briefly touching upon what was mentioned about the original budget for the studies on the site. I don't think it's a matter of if we need to add to the budget or not. This is definitely a need-based. This has been a subject that's been brought to the light from 1990 and has been ignored. I've grown up in the area, and I've played in this park. I'm trying to keep it away from emotional points, but I guess it's hard to do that when you kind of feel neglected. Not just personally, but just the area in general. I'm seeing the points that maybe $2,010,000 might be an amount pulled out of the air, but I do definitely support increasing that budget, because study after study is not going to get us very far. We know that there are volatile substances in the park, and there does need to be action made. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
In other words, the benefits to the residents of the town, when they eventually use the 17-acre facility. I'm wondering if in the 60 or the additional 150, does that cover how this park will be used? Thank you.
Town Manager. I would urge you to read the request justification that was changed in mid-March when we got the further soil analysis, which is a much more up-to-date description of the work that will be done under this article. And regretfully, we probably should have changed the title to reflect environmental assessment, community needs assessment. This article will only assess the environmental conditions, characterize what waste in compounds are in the soil, and then better characterize what the risk to the neighborhood will be at this site, leading to a response that DEP will have to approve and that Avery Dennison will probably participate in implementing. Part of that response will be determining the future use of the park, which is a function of what we find in terms of the environmental conditions. So